Just a couple quick comments and throw it out for questions. But first of all, it's just nice to put the spring in spring practice. It felt great to be outdoors tonight, and that was good. And good to be in Kinnick, and really appreciate the fans that turned out. They were enthusiastic, and I think our players enjoyed that for sure. A couple of things. I think going back to January, the team really has demonstrated, I think, a pretty good work ethic and a good attitude, positive attitude, really since we began the out-of-season workouts. So I think, the last 15 practices, it's safe to say that's continued. The guys have been pretty consistent. They've done a nice job with their training, meetings, all those kinds of things, so happy about that. Secondly, I think, we've made good physical strides. I think we're seeing skill improvement, fundamental improvement, and that's a positive. And then, focus really isn't on teamwork out there, precision teamwork necessarily, but I think we see the guys, especially this past week, come together a little bit better and look a little bit more like a team. And then right along with it, see leadership, some leadership starting to develop on the football team in a lot of different areas, which is encouraging. So, we got a long way in front of us to a lot of ground to cover, but those are all really positives. And we were in game uniforms tonight, but we're hardly game ready. That was obvious as well. But I think overall, just really happy about the work that we've gotten done over 15 workouts. I think we've made good progress. And then hopefully the guys, really the key is right now keeping a good attitude, being realistic that, we got a lot of things we need to get accomplished between now and September. But, this is a good step for us, and we'll just kind of build from there. I'll throw it out for questions.
What is it about Jake Gervais in spring games?
That's a fair question. Yeah, he's showing off out there. He certainly, last year kind of burst on the scene, and Jake's really done a nice job. I mentioned leadership. He's been a guy that's taken a very, very active role, and probably did start, a year ago. I don't know if it was this night or whatever, but a year ago today really was kind of the first step for him. And spring games aren't critical, certainly, but they're good indicators sometimes of what guys are doing. Tandem them up with Hooker. Hooker made a really nice play on the interception, and just from where I was standing, it was kind of funny. You could see him sizing it up. That they haven't covered that route all spring. Not that we've thrown it a lot, but he spotted it right off the bat and was just kind of laying in the weeds on that one. So I think that shows that he's moving forward a little bit too, and it's what you hope from experienced players.
Can you elaborate on Aaron Mans?
Yeah, he was just he got injured. I guess it was Wednesday morning, and feel fairly good about the overall progress of our football team this spring, but that puts a damper on it. We had 2 knee injuries that are serious, both he and Westavoric, and those are kind of temper things a little bit, unfortunately. And Aaron's a great young guy, and can't seem to catch a break right now, so it's tough, really tough.
What kind of upside does Anthony Nelson have now that you've seen him a couple of years and see what he could do?
The first time we probably saw him, he's 200 pounds, 205 pounds, something like that. But he's grown physically, obviously, but more importantly, he's grown as a player. And, a while back we started seeing things in practice that you thought would translate to game action. And, he did that, certainly. And it's really been good for our guys, our tackles, our young tackles, to work against Anthony, to work against Parker. And the other guys have been pretty good, too. They're doing some good things. But Anthony and Parker in particular, both, they feel like veteran guys, and Anthony does a really nice job. He puts pressure on those tackles pretty good, so it's a really healthy thing. But he continues to grow. He's got a great attitude. I mentioned leadership. He's certainly one of the guys that's assuming a role there also, and that's good to see.
Aside from Aaron, how would you assess things at linebacker?
Well, I think we're making progress. I know Phil mentioned Amani the other day, and I would start there. He's done some really good things. Nick's done a good job outside. Neiman's done a good job, and then I think after that, you've got Jack Hockaday, you got Welch. Those guys are competing, and Barrington. I know Phil mentioned this. I'm repeating what he said, but it is true. Barrington's one of those guys that just kind of really had a silent year. Nothing bad, but really nothing to make you say, maybe we can use this guy here or there, special teams, etc. I think this spring he's certainly in the 2 deep and deserves to be in the 2 deep, and I think he's hopefully got a chance, to start for a competing job, and then also help us on special teams. And if we're going to have a good football team, we need guys like him to step in there and do some things dynamically on special teams.
You talked about when Bob Sanders was here, you always talked about him bringing your big brother to the street fight. Do you get that kind of vibe from Amani Jones too?
Yeah, he's just got a natural vibe to him or juice, and that's, scouting, the art of scouting. I went to a clinic in Chicago, probably would have been his junior year maybe, and a coach I knew from the 80s, who's retired now and was helping out at his high school. He grabbed me at that clinic and said, you guys are nuts if you don't look at this guy. And it was Mike Berry. Mike's a guy that, he's coached a lot of football. His son's a coach now. And so that got my attention, and the way he talked about him, got my attention. So, first time you meet him, there's something about the guy, and he's got he loves the game, and he's appreciative of the opportunities that are in front of him right now. And I'm talking about the whole package, being here in school. He really understands this is a good opportunity for him to get a degree and, hopefully play Big Ten football. And he's done some good things for us already on special teams. Now the trick is, can he convert it into every down playing out there? But he's made a lot of progress this spring.
It sounded like your comment about Emir Smith-Marset and his phone. It sounded like it was got the desired effect.
Yeah, it's just having fun with him. I really, I think everybody likes him here. You got to, but we got to keep him in line too. We got to keep him in check. He's a really spirited guy. He's not like Amani and that. They have different personalities, but they're both guys that really love football and they love competing. So, he really adds a good vibe to the team. He's a very positive energy guy, and you can just tell when he's out there, he likes being on the football field. And I think back to Bill Polian talking about Dallas Clark. He says, Dallas, I think he enjoys getting his ankles taped. Just enjoys every part about the game, and I think that's fair about Amir too.
Everything okay with Easley? He wasn't out.
Yeah, it's soft tissue. We've had a couple guys with soft tissue issues, so he was doing well. Basically missed this week, and that's the way it goes. But he'll be fine.
And then Max Cooper ends up being the spring receiving sensation, which is always dangerous.
Yeah, well, the good news is it wasn't just today, but it wasn't much more than today. That's the bad news. So he was one of those guys that just kind of just talked about Barrington. Nothing bad, but nothing of note. And the last couple of days, he's come alive. It's like, okay, there is a guy wearing number 19 out there. So hopefully that's a start of a trend, not just a blip on the radar screen. We'll see.
Are you able to come out of spring with a decent sense of what your offensive line is capable of? Because I know that you guys don't do a lot of live stuff, and you've had bodies in and out of there, and Levi's been out. Do you have any sense? Do you have a good sense for that, or is there anything that can tell you that? Yeah,
that really is. We don't do a lot of live work. That is accurate, but I think that's one position we can evaluate pretty well. In practice. Yeah. I've liked the way they've competed both sides of the ball interiorly, and all the linemen, the ends, tackles on defense, and all five guys offensively. We don't have enough depth right now. I think we're going to we have a chance to have a good line. It's kind of like our football team, and we have a chance, but we're not very deep, and we got a lot of work to do. But I think we've made progress. I think both the tackles. We have a handful of guys. That you think about, like Worse was still throwing shot puts and disc and all that stuff last year at this time. AJ was coming off a redshirt year. You think about Stanley. You think about Easley was trying to figure out where to go to class, all that stuff last year. A couple of the receivers were in high school, so a lot of those guys are a lot further along. And I think we feel better that way. So I think we got a lot of guys on our offensive team in particular that are further along the road, how good we can be, and then how much can we develop some depth. We got a lot of questions that way, and it's not. We still haven't completed a pass this year in a game, and we haven't made a first down. So we got a lot of work to do that way.
How did you see from the backup quarterbacks during the course of the spring? And was today a good kind of representation of what Peyton did for you guys?
Yeah, it was fair. Yeah, he really was struggling in August when we got going. Really struggling. It was like, whoa. And then what happened when he started struggling was really interesting. Sometimes entertaining, except it was entertaining because he was like 14 at that point. It wouldn't be right now, but he's really progressed too. So I think he's a lot closer to being able to go in the game than he was. And Petrus has kind of surprised us a little bit. He's caught on things a little quicker than you might imagine. So we'll see what happens there. But it's been those guys have both done some good things.
Kirk, back to the linebackers. It sounds like Menz you're doubtful probably for the season.
I think it's going to be tough. Yeah.
And then at weak side, then is it right now probably Welch and Hockaday working for that, and then, you know, this also brings up other opportunities, like if Barrington Wayne impresses you, he could
Possible.
move
Yeah,
in
sure.
there, or even Dylan Doyle, or
We'll keep an
Colbert.
open mind, yeah, certainly for everybody. And, you know, you got Colbert, you know, Nate's out right now waiting, but Wheeland, excuse me. But he'll be back here in a couple of weeks, so we'll see.
One or two more questions?
Keegan has some big shoes to fill at the center position. What are some steps he can take over the summer to, you know, kind of make up for the loss of?
Yeah, that's a really good point. You know, because we felt like Keegan could do it pretty well, but he's really done a good job. So he's probably, hate that we say he's exceeded our expectations, because I'm not sure what our expectations were exactly, but he's really done a pretty good job. There's some little nuances that he needs more work on. There are a couple of things that are unique to playing center that you just have to practice on the field, and you got to be exposed to them. So he'll get that in August. I'm really confident of that. He's done a really nice job with taking command, communicating. That's important at that position. I mentioned the leadership thing earlier, and he's one of the guys that's really taken ownership there and welcomed it. And you know, he's played pretty solid, you know, in there just technique-wise. But a lot of that, you know, most centers aren't you know, just fall out of trees or born or hatch. You know, most of them learn how to play the position. But he's doing it pretty adeptly. You know, there are, again, a couple little things he's still got to get down, but that'll come. I'm really confident. And so we feel pretty good about that. And then Banworth did a pretty good job. And Duwa, you know, is a guy we're trying to make into one, try to get him ready to go too. And Levi's got a good competitive spirit. He just needs a lot more work and repetition, but he's barely played football. He's been injured a lot, even in his high school career and then last year. So I think he's got a chance too. So hopefully we're going to get that, you know, in good shape by September.
Kirk, last year you guys had the Tiger Hawk at the 50 on the playing surface. Now you're going to have the Tiger Hawk on the water tower. First of all, does this end all the small little things that people ask you about, and what do you think of this one?
So I think it was 1979, right? The birth of the Tiger Hawk.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. You know, I was telling a couple of people coming in here that it's funny. I was driving in this morning. I was behind a CAM bus, and they had the Capitol symbol. You know, the emblem there. And I don't know why I was thinking about the water tower, because I really haven't thought much about it in my 28 years here. But this morning I was just thinking, like, you know, Tiger Hawk and the Capitol. The Capitol, I think, is it's a great emblem also. But I think the Tiger Hawk's a little bit more universally recognized. So anyway, I didn't know what was going on. I swear, I didn't know what was going on the water tower. I think it's great. I think it's great. And the Capitol would have been great too. And I don't know what else was. Did they vote for this online? Was this one of those polls? But I think it's fantastic. It's great because, I mean, you know, you got a Tiger Hawk anywhere, and people give you the Go Hawks. So I think it's outstanding. Coach Fry will be glad to hear about that too.
Kirk, you had an official visitor today. Is the plan going forward to have more officials this spring, or still kind of a wait and see mode?
That's probably one more than we had intended a month ago or 2 months ago. So, but I think, you know, we've talked a lot about that and other topics in recruiting. You know, just the biggest thing that's changed in our profession, and especially the last 5 years, is recruiting. So I think we're going to keep a very open mind. We still want to do it in a controlled way. We'd prefer, at least I would prefer, that we do it in a way that maximizes manpower, if you will, like a focus on one weekend, maybe two, but not, you know, one guy here, and just like wear everybody out, because that could happen real fast. Plus, we get nothing else done when that happens. But we'll keep an open mind. And here's another interesting thing, right? If I understand this correctly, which I've been told about 8 times because I still don't believe it. So we moved up official visits to the spring, right? Everybody's following that one. The count, whatever it is, 56, you get 50. You guys know it better than I do, right? So you're allowed 56. We've never come close. In fact, we got 20 or 18 in the bank right now. That count, that pitch count, you think would start when they start the visits, wouldn't they? Yeah. Like, you're the recruiting guy, right, Tom? So that's what they do, right? They're going to move the visits up. They move that 56 thing up, and you get to carry them over. Yeah. No. That still is in August or September, whenever it is. So if you have some from last year, then you can use them this spring. Is that how you guys understood it? You guys follow it? I thought you guys were recruiting me. So anyway, that's how they explained it to me. Only the NCAA could come up with that one. I mean, that makes no sense at all, right? Am I right? It makes no sense. So anyway, there we go. It's kind of like these the 6 years that they've been throwing around. I'm still mad about Drew out, okay? Just for the record, I'm still mad about that. I'm for young people, and I'm all for the guys that have gotten 6 years. Drew out he got the short end of the stick. One of these days I'll quit talking about that. One of these days, okay?
Thanks, Coach.